Hi everybody, Michelle here from Quebec Cichlid. Today is the first episode of Fish Store Extreme Makeover Season 2. You're probably wondering what I'm doing in front of my breeding tanks because Fish Store Extreme Makeover is a makeover of the fish store, not of the breeding section. Season 2 is supposed to be starting a lot later in this season because I'm still working on some of the kinks for the store section, but I had to take some hard decisions in my breeding, and it makes that I have to move a lot of aquariums. And big aquariums that I have to move. I have decided that I will stop breeding my Sirtocara murai, my blue dolphin. My colony has brought me a lot of fry, a lot of joy over the years, but it's time for me to move on. I lost my male recently due to old age. He got sick, lethargic, and I wasn't able to save him. And well, you know, it happens to the best of us. So I got a new male and he's aggressive. Just when I thought it was going well, just yesterday he killed one of my females, and like, you know what? It's not the same dynamic as when there was my previous males. With my old males, there were a lot of old females as well that also passed. So now I only had 4 fish left in a colony of blue dolphins, which is not a good number, but you know, I figured if I can make it work. I put some Frontosa in with them as dither fish, but you know what? It's just not working. And so I was thinking, because these are in a 150-gallon tank, and I was wondering, what am I gonna do with this 150-gallon tank? So I figured, I don't want a 150-gallon tank. I want 2 90-gallon tanks. I want smaller tanks. I know how ironic it is. Usually we want to grow bigger, but for me, just a 150-gallon tank, I'd have to find big enough fish. Sure, I could put some peacocks in there, but I also have to think of maintenance and everything because I have a lot of aquariums. I found a secondhand 80-gallon tank, and I have a secondhand 65-gallon tank that actually the 65-gallon has been just sitting there for a little while. It was just so beautiful, and I didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to get rid of it, but I wanted to keep it. Didn't know what to do with it. So it sort of was sitting there, and I'm finally using it. Hooray! It's a good day. By the end of this video, I don't know how many days it'll take, but by the end of this video, my whole lane here will be filled with aquariums, and it'll be great. The first one is actually the moment of truth to see how committed I am to this. I'm going to be taking the dolphins and the little Frontosa out of the aquarium. A little, they're like 4 inches long. I'll be taking them out of the aquarium, bringing them to their new home in front, and completely taking down my 150-gallon tank. I'll be putting the filters on the other aquariums on this 90-gallon. Actually, I said it was moving earlier, but this 90-gallon is not going to be moving. So actually, I think it's an 80. I'll see. I honestly never measured it. I just said 90. I'll measure it later and write it down right here, so you know. Now you know. While I'm saying this, I don't know. Isn't YouTube magic amazing? So back to reality. I'll be putting my filters on this 80 or 90-gallon tank, and just to keep them cycled. In the time that I do all the other aquariums, I don't know how long it'll take. I'll try to finish it by the end of the day, but if it takes over 4 hours, it can be risky for the bacteria if ever my filters dry out. I have an AquaClear 110. It could, if it empties out and there's no water, like the bacteria will just die. So I want to keep it alive. So I'll put it on my aquarium there in the meantime. So let's get started. I'm going to be putting the dolphins and the Frontosa in different buckets because they are going to different aquariums. Of course, as luck would have it, I forgot to click record when I was fishing out the dolphins, so here is me fishing out the Frontosa. Oops. They were pretty easy to catch considering that they're in a 150-gallon tank and about 4 inches long. They're a really slow fish, so I just guide them into my net. The tank is so empty. Now let's empty it more. For this one, I emptied it completely. I even took out the substrate. My mother bought me this back brace because she was worried I'd hurt my back while moving aquariums. I guess I am moving 150-gallon tanks. I should be careful. We're going to be putting it on our buggy. So all we have to do is lift it about half a foot. It's not so bad, but I have to get on my tippy toes to do it because I'm too short. These metal sliders that I'm moving are what the aquariums sit on. They're extremely solid. It's made for that. I have to raise the shelf to make it even with the one on the other side. It was one click lower, and now I want them all to be even. And these metal beams just clip into the vertical ones, making it easy to move around. I am using black silicone for this job. After having filmed the video of how to seal an aquarium, I found this trick. By using painting tape, I'm able to create a much nicer line. I wish I had known about this sooner. Ever since then, every time I reseal an aquarium, it's a lot nicer. The satisfaction of removing the tape and seeing the beautiful line afterwards. It's perfect. The silicone is done and we are now going to set up the background. This is dark blue vinyl. What you see me spraying is just a mix of water with dish soap that I put on the vinyl and on the aquarium. I even it out with my little tool and cut the edges with the X-Acto to make a nice finish. Honestly, this is not my best work. It probably looks good on camera, but to me, I know I've done better. Oh well, deal with it. Hooray, it's finally up. Looking good. So here she is, the 65-gallon tank. Finally, almost up and running. I have to wait for the seal to dry. Now is the part that I was dreading, and I know you're gonna think it wasn't moving the 150-gallon tank. No, it was not. I have moved the 150-gallon tank more than once, but this one, it's the 4 foot. It's not 4 feet actually. It's 40 inches by 24 by 24, and it is filled with my Tilapia Let's Fasciata that are growing. They're about 1 inch long. Now, have you ever fished out 1 inch long fish in a 100-gallon tank? If you have, you know why I'm dreading this part. Plus, the aquarium is very heavy. I know, right? The 150-gallon, yes, it was heavy, but this one, because it's 4 feet, you get the idea that it's small, but it's actually not. It's huge. It's so heavy. Once I have emptied that out and fished all the fish, I'm going to just move it right here, right next to this 65-gallon tank. They're the same height-ish. It's probably like ½ inch higher because it's a really odd size. I have 2 40-gallon reservoirs where I'm emptying this water out to conserve it. Because the fish I'm taking out right now are gonna go right back into the aquarium. I'm just moving it. This is a 120-gallon tank and I'm only keeping 80 gallons of water, meaning that the other 40 gallons is probably gonna go on the floor. As luck would have it, they overflowed. Oh boy. It's finally empty. I got my back brace on and I took out most of the substrate. We're gonna move it on the buggy like we did for the 150-gallon tank. It's gonna go right next to the 65-gallon tank. It doesn't look heavy, but it's so heavy. Lucky for us, we're not moving it too much. This is the easy part. We just slide it right onto the rack. Easy. Well, easier. Now I'm gonna fill up the substrate, but my buckets don't fit on the top of the aquarium, so I have to go with my arms. I'm just reusing the substrate that I had in the aquarium earlier. I just put it in these 2 buckets in the meantime. I got some all over myself. Please forgive the next scenes because I have some all over my face and didn't notice when I was filming. Now let's fill up this awesome tank with the water that I was able to recuperate and a bit of new water as well. It'll be like a big water change. Let's go home. Look at that, there's substrate everywhere. Oh my. It's the end of day one. That means that I wasn't able to finish everything in one day. From the start, I wasn't able to do it in one day because of the drying tank. So what do we have to show for today and all our efforts? The 150-gallon tank is down and the fish are relocated. I'm searching for new homes for the dolphin. For the 65-gallon tank, the seal has been done. Now it's drying. So, well, not much I can do about that. And I also moved the 100-ish gallon giant, super heavy aquarium that I dreaded. And it is done, hooray! And the fish are in, and what I have to show for it is just two really murky aquariums at the moment. Because of all the filters that I was moving, all the junk just went right into the tanks. So it's kind of brown. The aquarium's missing everywhere, some are empty. It looks silly, but you know, we're in the middle of something, so it's gotta look silly. In day two, I am going to fix the 80-gallon tank. This is the last one of the whole row. I'm gonna put the background and I'm gonna fill it up, put the fish, and I can put fish in it pretty much right away. There won't be any bacteria in the substrate, but there will be in the filters that will be cycled. So I'll rinse out the substrate and the filters will bring all the bacteria. I have an Eheim canister that's really a powerful filter and an Aqua Clear 110, so it's gonna go really well. I'm gonna be able to put fish in it very soon. Stay tuned and see what I put in this aquarium. So it's day two of Fish Store Extreme Makeover season premiere. So I let the 65-gallon tank dry over a couple of days just to make sure that there is nothing left. Technically it's 24 hours you have to wait, but I am so paranoid I waited 3 days. So today we are going to fill up both tanks and set up our filters on it. That will give us a beautiful lane complete of aquariums, all the same height. It's gonna be gorgeous. So stay tuned to see the final result and to see the fish that I put in it. We're also going to be adding the substrate, and we are going to, for the 65-gallon tank, I'm going to move the water, the whole aquarium water, as well as the fish into their new aquarium. So I'm going to show you which ones they are. They are my Cinotilapia, SP Hara Galeria Reef, as well as my Metria Clima Estere Obese. Now they're in a 40-gallon tank and I'm moving them up to a 65-gallon tank. The Cinotilapia remains small, but I still want them to have a little bit more room. And they'll be a lot easier to see because, well, the 40-gallon tank is very high and I like to have my breeding at eye level. It's just easier for me. I walk around and I see everything. So let's do this. I'm gonna start off by putting the substrate in the aquariums. So after thinking it through, it doesn't make sense to put the fish in right away because if my aquarium leaks, because let's say I didn't do a good job, it could happen. Yeah, I don't want to put my fish through that. So I'm just gonna fill it up with water from my water changes in the aquariums right on the other side. I'm gonna do these water changes up here, and that way if ever it leaks, well, I just wasted water. I didn't, you know, put fish through extreme stress. So let's do that instead. Again, for the 80-gallon tank, my substrate buckets don't fit. So it's a pretty hard job just filling them up, but let's do it anyways. All right, I think this is a good look. It's a little bit sloppy, but the fish will fix it up. Now I'm gonna fill them with the water from the rest of the water changes that I was doing. My fish in the other row are gonna be very happy about this. I set up my AquaClear 110 on the back. This one is still cycled because I kept it going on the other tank. That way the bacteria didn't die. To start it off, I have to put water in it, so I'm just gonna use water from my hose. Once the little box is full, I just plug it in, and that's it. Let's take a quick look at the back. All of these tanks have a AquaClear 110 with a canister filter. I have many brands of filters. I have Eheim, Rena, and in the back I also have a Fluval and another Eheim. The Fluval is a smaller model, so it's on the 65-gallon tank, but technically it would be powerful enough to go on one of the 80 or 90-gallon tanks as well. I can't believe I got everything done. It was a big day. The only thing I didn't do was put the fish in the aquarium. Obviously, I didn't put them in today. I put them in a couple days. YouTube magic, check out what I put in my aquariums. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, there's plenty more where that came from. This is just a taste of what the Fish Store Extreme Makeover is gonna be like because, well, this is the breeding section. We're actually gonna be moving most of the aquariums in the store section. So if you wanna get yourself into it, I created a playlist that is the Fish Store Extreme Makeover Season 1, which is what I did last year. I moved so many tanks last year, and this year again, we're gonna move just as many. So before starting on the store, I have to build a little presentation rack, just because, well, when I take the aquariums down, I need something to put my goods, my dry goods that I sell on. So once that is done, I'm gonna start with the moving aquarium. So I'll be doing that very soon. So as you saw in the end, I showed you the filters that I use, and many of those have been fixed. I had to fix them because they were leaking, they were broken, they had a bunch of problems, and so I filmed all that, and that'll be in next week's video. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button to get a notification when that pops up. I also give a bunch of tips on how to fix filters for most of the reasons why they break. Don't forget that you can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a great website where you can shop online and see all the fish I have for sale. I ship throughout Canada. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.